Please subscribe to Let's Share Solutions and press the bell icon for daily life-transforming videos. So, you've joined Toastmasters and selected your path. Congratulations! And now it's time to write your first speech, the icebreaker. And in case you are not a Toastmaster, you can know about Toastmasters through my introduction video to Toastmasters. Link is in the description. This video is for Toastmasters who are preparing for their first speech, the icebreaker in pathways. I've divided this video in 4 parts. First, we'll discuss the purpose of an icebreaker speech. Second, things you must know before you write your speech. Third, how to write your best pathways icebreaker speech. And finally, tips on how to present your speech. So let's get started. So the purpose of an icebreaker speech is to speak like the best speaker ever, to rule the stage like a warrior, to mesmerize the audience. Great news. That's not the purpose of an icebreaker. And the reason why most people take time to prepare their icebreaker speech is because they want to give their best speech. Well, you joined Toastmasters because you want to be a good speaker. You didn't join Toastmasters because you are already a great speaker. So the only purpose of this project is to introduce yourself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. Next, some simple things you must know before you write your script. The speech duration is 4 to 6 minutes. The best way to make sure you stick to the time limit is to practice your speech using a stopwatch and accordingly rewrite the script. Second, you must know that Toastmasters is a very positive place. To respect others and especially newcomers is our core value, so feel confident. You will receive a lot of applause, appreciation with recommendations for your benefit. Now let's understand how to write your speech. Whenever you write a speech, you must make sure you stick to the objectives or the purpose of that speech. So first thing you need to understand is that you don't have to talk about an event or a philosophy, a preaching or anything like that. But you have to talk about your own self. So I'll give you a simple formula to do it. Write down what is the one thing that describes you or one thing that you value the most. Now this can be more than one thing also. I remember once someone gave an icebreaker and that person talked about the 3 mistakes of his life. Something like that. So I leave that decision on you, but for your convenience and for explanation and to help you get started, I want you to write down that one thing that describes you and you should write your script on that thing. And while describing it, you can mention about your family, education, profession, etc. Example, when I gave my first speech, I talked about how I dreamt to become a filmmaker and how I left my job as an engineer and struggled to become a full-time filmmaker against all odds. So you need to find about what describes you. You don't have to find a heroic story, but anything that describes you. It can be as simple as your relationship with your dog or something like that. Any obstacle you overcome, anything you did or you are doing which shows your personality. So talk about anything like that. Now, when you write your speech, make it as follows. Now, it may be too much for you, but let me tell you, it may look like too much, but it will make your speech easier. It will make your work easier. So try this. Try to start with either a quotation or a question. Example, you can start by saying, "It is said that where there is a will, there is a way." And then you can start your speech. Or you may ask a question like, how many of you have never been to a dentist? Something like that. It's just a random question, but I'm sure you got the point. After the question or quotation, greet the audience, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guest. Whichever way you greet in your area. And then after greeting, simply start with your name. Although your name is already mentioned by the TMOD, but still, as it's your first speech, you can tell your name. My name is Ashwini Thakur, and then you can give a little info about you. After this, you can go to the main topic, the story, the idea, that obstacle, that one thing that you decided to talk about. You may also mention why you joined Toastmasters. This is optional, but it relates to your project one or your icebreaker. Finally, when you end with an impact, something that people can recall, something like that. Think of something that is thought-provoking. Instead of just saying, "That's all about me, thank you." That's a very simple way of doing it. But you can again end with either a quote, a solution, another question, or a suggestion. Example, "I hope my story will inspire you to blah, blah, blah. I believe blah, blah, blah." Any quote you can mention. "As they say," and then the quote. Or a question. "In the end, all I ask is this. Will you go to a dentist?" Well, I'm having pain in my wisdom tooth. That's the reason I'm getting this dentist example again and again. So that's it. That's how you can write your icebreaker speech. Finally, I would like to give you tips on how to present your speech. Good news for you is that as this is your first speech, you can use notes. You can have notes, paper, and you can keep it in your hand for reference, so that you don't forget anything. It may happen that in your first speech, you may forget it, or you may forget the flow, or you may forget the quotations and all. So you can have it. I'm not saying you do, but it is an option in your icebreaker that you may use it. Now, I remember once someone used a laptop, and that person had a presentation of his own life on that laptop, and he used that as a reference. So that was a very clever way of using a reference. So you can do that. You can have a presentation or some chart paper, something like that, that will help you to recall, not forget anything. So in the first speech, you can have notes also. Also, I would like to recommend that you practice your speech at least 3 times or more in front of a mirror or in front of your spouse and kids. I do that. Or simply you can record your speech using a phone, and you can watch it again and take feedback from it, and accordingly you can make some changes. It is said that great speech is not written, great speech is rewritten. But why am I talking about great speech? No, don't try to write a great speech. That will take a lot of time and you may get scared. I want you to call your VP Ed and tell that in next meeting you're giving your icebreaker. Well, I make daily videos on communication skills and personality development, so don't forget to subscribe and check my other videos. I wish you all the best. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope it helped you. With every video I produce, my goal is to increase the level of your happiness, health, and wealth. If you liked the video, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Also, check out my Hindi channel and business channel.